All righty. Call to order. We're in a meeting. Good to be here. Good to see some people here. Some of you. See who's here tonight. Mr. Castellano?
Here.
Mr. Morello?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Name?
Here.
Mr. Bittner is missing. Mr. Williams is here. We have four to have. I assume any new business in the minutes from the last meeting? Everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Any questions from anyone? Motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve minutes from August 5, 2025 meeting.
Second?
Second the motion.
All in favor? Alrighty, now to the reason we're here tonight. Looking at the commercial site plan review for Carteret Healthcare.
All right,
Have at it, Dave.
let me switch my screens here so that I can share with any of those that are watching at home at a later date. All right, here we go. So before you this evening, you will see is a commercial site plan permit application. It's identified as a zoning permit application. They just filled out this form for it. But we are looking at the commercial site plan. It's been identified as a new healthplex owned by Carteret Healthcare with associated parking and utilities. Keep in mind, under our ordinances, it will be, from a use standpoint, it's considered a hospital. It meets the definition of a hospital. And so as we look through the ordinances, if you have anything, they have a question about, it is a hospital. It is also technically under the definition a medical facility. So things that apply to hospitals or medical facilities, we'll look at to the extent that one outweighs the other. We'll have to make a decision if there is anything that you bring up. I haven't seen any of those potential contradictions or conflicts, but I know you all do your independent review as well. So you may have caught something that I might have overlooked. So, within your packet, there's several pages to this site plan. The first here is the demolition plan showing all the stuff that needs to be taken out of the property. Much of this has already been done. If you've been by there recently, you'll know that these trees are gone. The whole parking area is gone, that sort of stuff. The next sheet is basically a general layout of the site, showing, let me give you a little more context for those, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. And you might be watching the video at a later date. Let me set a little context here for you. I know all of you here know where it'll be located, but I want to make sure everybody can understand. So this is Cedar Point Boulevard. Off to the left side of the screen here is AutoZone. Town Hall that we're sitting in is located right here. So across the road, kind of beside the condos, the villas at Megan's Bay, encompassing these three tracts of land, this one and then these two behind it, for a total of approximately 5 acres. So when we're looking at the site plan, we're looking at these three tracts combined together. The hospital does own this tract beside of it, but there is no proposal that you're looking at tonight to address anything on this tract over here. All right, everybody following? So it's these three tracts combined.
But that has been cleared.
It has been cleared, yes. So we'll refer to this property jointly as 1130 Cedar Point Boulevard, even though there are addresses for 500 and 600 Lighthouse Lane back here. But the address will be 1130 Cedar Point Boulevard. On this particular drawing, this is dealing more with your sedimentation, not sedimentation, erosion control, your stormwater type stuff. You have some grading, showing these parking spaces out front and along the back as being pervious surfaces, helping to reduce some of the impact from a stormwater standpoint. Along the left-hand side of the screen is Highway 24, just to help get you oriented, get here. And then down on the south side, the lower side of the screen here is Currituck Drive. Put that in perspective over here. Currituck's right here. The property to the west is currently still vacant. Right there on the other side of Currituck. So that would be in this general area right here, with the condos being located back here. Along the rear of the property are some single-family residential lots that are part of the Megan's Bay subdivision. I'll go on down here. This actually gives you the elevations for the grading, what those final grades would be, showing where the stormwater would be going. I can zoom in and show you a little bit more of those details here. So it looks like the bulk of the stormwater will be heading to the west side of the property. Appears to be a stormwater retention pond located here, as well as one here on the front corner and a little bit along this front of the property here. You'll notice that the grading actually drains things to these drop inlets on either side here, and then into these sides of here. If you have any questions at any point on anything I'm going over, please stop me. I don't want to waste your time or bore you with any of it.
Just a while, do any of these link into the drainage thing on the road?
Yes.
That's what I thought they did, but I just never.
Yeah, so the state stormwater permits require a certain amount of retention on site. That used to be an 1.5 inches, first 1.5 inches in a 24-hour period. I think it's still the same, but something like that. After that, then it can overflow into generally some other stormwater conveyance, such as state DOT ditch or something like that. But the first 1.5 inches is generally the requirement. One thing that you see on this one is the layout of the location of the septic system. It'll be towards the rear of the property. And then behind that, there's a natural 30-foot buffer that's been maintained since they cleared the lot. So it's already in place. That was part of the PUD design when it was laid out to be commercial out front and the condos in the back. They designed it with a 30-foot natural vegetative buffer to protect the single-family lots behind it. So that has been preserved by the hospital. Now, I believe some of the residents might have done some clearing into that area previously, so there's some vacant spots in there now, but the hospital has taken no action to clear any of those trees out. I'll go on down to the next one. Here you'll see their landscaping plan. I've already addressed one concern with the hospital in that we have a requirement for street yard landscaping. There's a lot of trees and bushes out front here, but not enough trees. There's more bushes than we require, but not enough trees. So I've already addressed that with them. They'll be converting some of those bushes into trees to meet that requirement. It is all within the street yard area there, so shouldn't be an issue just making some of that conversion there.
And the street yard area is the appropriate width, like 15 feet or whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so it has to be a minimum of 15 foot in width. If I zoom in, this front area is actually 20 feet in width. They have all their plants in roughly 10 feet of it, with the front 10 feet being grass. And if you look at our description of what a street yard landscaping, it includes grass as part of that. So it's not a problem for it to be grass. It does say that at least 50% of it has to be trees and bushes. So of 15 feet, they're using 10 of it solidly for trees and bushes. So they're using 2/3 of it. So they're certainly meeting that requirement. It's just we need to change some of those bushes to trees. There is a 10-foot wide Class A buffer along the east side of the property. Even though the hospital does own that tract of land, if you take a look at our zoning map, which I'm pulling up here on the screen, you see the 3 tracts here in the middle of the screen. To the east side of the property, it adjoins a B3 zoned parcel. So even though the hospital also owns it, it is zoned separately. Therefore, they have to put that buffer in there, just in the event that they decide to sell it, some other use goes in there.
And they still maintain the buffer to the right of that going into the Royal Drive of Megan's. To the
So
right of that B3.
Yeah, nothing is being addressed at this point on that
I mean,
side of
but
that.
what I'm saying is that's cleared, so they left.
So I believe they may have cleared all the way to the property line. I don't know for sure.
I walked it today, it looked,
But there is, if you look here, all of this that's not shown in yellow is actually part of the right-of-way entrance to Megan's Bay. So I don't know to what extent they left anything on their side of that property line, but certainly Megan's Bay has
yeah, I mean,
some wooded.
yeah, it was, okay.
And I don't know, Kyle Merrick is the CEO of Carter Healthcare. He's here with us tonight. I don't know if he wants to, if he has the answer to that question or.
Not 100%, I have to go out and look at it.
Well, there's a buffer there, I just didn't know, you know, I assume that distance, whatever, but if we're, and it's not being developed yet. So.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that when and if they ever decide to move forward with something there, it'll be treated separately. But because they are zoned separately here, that's why you have the requirement for the Class A buffer along that side, which is 10 foot. Let's see, it gives you the schedule here. I do want to address one thing up here. Let me go back up to the chart. One thing we always have to take a look at is the concern with parking. And so if you look at the parking chart here, there's two ways you can look at parking under our ordinances. This is one of those areas that you could say are in conflict. The parking requirements for a medical facility are greater than those for a hospital. Because under our ordinances, the language for a hospital counts the number of inpatient beds to figure out parking. This facility will not have any inpatient beds, so it wouldn't require any parking for those. It then has a additional amount for based on the number of doctors. So the more restrictive here would be the medical facility, which is exactly what they followed. So they followed the more restrictive of the two for this project. They're showing that there's 102 spaces would be required based on 13 doctors and 50 employees. Because it requires, for a medical facility, it requires 4 spaces per doctor plus 1 space per employee. So 102, and they're providing 105 spaces. They're also providing more ADA accessible parking spaces than are required as part of that as well. So here's your general layout. My understanding of it is that the design is for the general public to use the front parking area, where the rear parking area would be reserved for employees, staff. You do have a dumpster enclosure back here. It is shown to be screened, required by ordinances. Last month, to give you an update, the Board of Commissioners did approve the 2 text amendments that were recommended, including the language to limit it to emergency medical facilities. So the driveway location is not an issue, nor are the canopies on the front of the building. Do you have a question?
Planting. Back to the planting.
Okay, sure.
I'm trying to picture the trees in the back where the staff parks.
Okay.
Is that road behind the trees or road in front of the trees, so the back road? In other words, are the trees behind that road, between the road and the septic, or in?
So what you have here, there's a driveway entrance right here,
Right.
which would line up with Lighthouse Lane, come straight in. And then you have where an ambulance could pull in under the rear shelter here, rear canopy. And then you have parking located between these 2 sets of trees. And then our ordinances do require interconnectivity between adjoining commercial properties. And so this is a drive aisle that would allow future access into the adjoining property if necessary to meet that requirement. So there would be a little bit of drive aisle. It may be, you may have traffic, coming around the backside of that. But the parking itself is located here in the middle, as I show you on your parking layout.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's all those parking spaces. And then you do have some parking up along the building itself. The ADA accessible parking spaces here and on the front of the building right here. that's kind of an overview of it. The only thing, as I mentioned, the only thing that I noticed that doesn't quite conform to the ordinances is that issue of the landscaping. And the hospital's already indicated a willingness to fix that before getting final approval.
Well, nice to have public here. Open it up for any public comments. Those of you who are public. None? Anybody? Okay, well, then I'll start. Brad?
Good.
Joe?
One thing I didn't see in here, I don't know, I seem to recall most site plans include lighting, a lighting plan. That was a concern for some of the neighbors in Megan's Bay. I don't see that here. I think I don't know, is that a requirement for a site plan in one? But even if it's not, I think it would be beneficial for the board of commissioners to see the lighting plan.
Yeah, so it's not a requirement of the commercial site plan process.
Yeah.
Before they put parking lot lighting in there, it has to be approved. So they do have to submit a plan, but it doesn't necessarily have to be part of this process.
Right.
Kind of like their building signage. It's not part of the commercial site plan process, but they have to have a separate permit and staff reviews to make sure all those are met before approval. Yeah, to the extent that they can prepare that before then, I think it may be useful on their end to provide
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it wouldn't be required at this point.
And then the other thing, and we saw renderings last month. There's not a building elevation. Or is there?
So they did.
And the only probably question is building height, because that was another concern, which is how tall the building is.
Okay, so I'll pull up, and Kyle, I might need you to address this. Has there been any changes to the elevation drawings since what was submitted the previous month? So there's no changes there. As far as the height is concerned, we don't have that height. It hasn't been provided, but I do want to show you in our ordinances. Getting to it on another screen here, so just bear with me a second. No, it's in the definition section. So under our definitions, it does say, here's the definition of building height. For purposes of this ordinance, height of building shall be measured from the existing grade elevation prior to any land disturbing activities. Fill shall only be allowed on restrictions. Tells us how building height shall be calculated. And then under subsection B, for commercial, institutional, no, that's not the one. Where is it? It's in here. Oh, here we go. Height limitations shall not apply to any grain elevators used in connection with a legally recognized bona fide farm operation, government buildings, schools, hospitals, water towers, public utilities, or similar structures, provided such structures meet the required North Carolina building codes. So they actually don't have a height limitation here.
Right.
So looking at the site, I don't have an actual height. You can generally assume.
It's 2 stories. I mean.
You can usually assume 10 to 12 feet per story.
Right.
So you're probably talking 36 feet to this point here. And that appears to be a parapet roof, and we would actually measure it from the flat surface of the parapet, not the top of the parapet. So even if they had the 40-foot limitation, I don't see that exceeding.
I don't have any other questions.
No.
No.
Mike?
Yes. So last month we had very good comments from Megan's Bay residents. So I appreciated them coming out as with Megan's Bay residents speaking last month to help just provide a perspective from their point of view, having to look at this building. But I've got several questions. So it's Kyle, the CEO, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for you, I mean, why name the building Healthplex instead of a hospital? Like, what's the technical difference in the definition? Because there's got to be a difference in definition, and I'm curious what that is.
So because there's not any inpatient beds, the inpatient beds,
Uh-huh,
it's not deemed a hospital.
okay,
So it's gonna have multiple entities in there, both an MRI with Eastern Radiology, which is called CHO Imaging, ambulatory surgery center, which is strictly outpatient.
okay,
No other states.
okay.
It's more or less the difference between state regulations and definitions and our ordinance definition.
I just want to make it clear so that we're not having our own assumptions in our minds. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
The clarification. The a comment. I like the types of vegetation that is being proposed. I like the tree selections. Because I am not a fan of Leland cypresses. To me, that's a cop out when I see it being put in. I mean, it's just a general comment that you've heard me say in the past about Leland cypresses. When I hear them say Leland cypresses, I laugh to myself. So with the 30-foot vegetative barrier on the backside of the Healthplex, aligning up next to Megan's Bay. So one of the comments from Megan's Bay residents was a fence. I don't see it depicted. When will that be depicted? Because that is something those residents want to separate a physical barrier, not just a vegetative barrier. I mean, what are your thoughts on that and feedback from them?
It's definitely something we can look into. I mean, it's not a definite no or anything like that. It's something we can.
So they want a fence. It's just concern with that boundary. So I share that
Thank
with
you.
you. Have you heard the comments, or has David provided you with their feedback?
Yes, sir.
Okay. David, thank you, because I always home in on parking lots, so you got my answer on that. I wrote down, so you're gonna have 102 is required, but you're doing 105. Out of curiosity, what are the size of the spots? Are they 8 by 16 or are they 10 by 20?
I'll zoom in here so you can see. Here's your typical parking spaces, 10 by 20.
Okay, so that's larger than I think what we have. So that's good, especially for this area where people have a lot of full-size trucks. So thank you.
Dr. Stuff, being good.
Full-size BMWs are great. I don't own one. Full-size truck. For David, what's the medical building across the street? Just out of curiosity, do you know the excess sewer capacity at that medical facility?
Don't right offhand. I think it's 7,500 gallons. I think it's a 15,000 gallon system. And they dedicated 7,500 to both units, but I'd have to double check that.
Pretty sure you're spot on with that one.
Because obviously you probably did research on tying into that, or
Yes, sir. The problem you run into is getting under the road becomes a big issue.
a cost issue.
Yeah,
It can be done.
it
It's
can be. It can
It's
be
just a
done.
cost. It's
Yeah.
anything can be done with money. So I see the fire department here. Thank you. My son volunteered there in his high school days. So any concerns that you're seeing, because I know what in previous, when we're doing site plans with turning around vehicles, emergency vehicles.
Not at this time, we've talked, and the states want to give the final approval, right? This time we're building over the state, and it falls within the requirements. In and out, and the parking places, we can move back around.
Okay.
It's a little bit wider for entrance than that, because of the, like, well, big buildings like this is an area only spot for like single hours. They'll be coming in, you know, with the heavy kind of, for us, it's not an issue.
Now, I know we last week we recommended approval, and then the Board of Commissioners allowed the overhang. Any concerns with your high profile vehicles pulling up close to the building under the?
Department is, we're 12 foot is our, it's a little less than 12 foot, but rule of thumb, we use 12 foot, anything less than 12 foot.
Okay, yeah, because I just offered it up for, as you're finalizing plans, that if they gotta be able to pull under it.
You'll pull it
Yeah,
back.
it won't have any problem.
Yeah, but I'm looking at your high profile, the fire trucks.
fire truck itself, generally the rule of thumb will be pulling under. And distance away.
Okay. And Mr. Morello asked a good question, and then you pull it up, David, like, there's a carve out for hospitals with no height restriction. So hypothetically speaking, on the other 5 acres of land, a 5-story building could go in, hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically, yes, there is not currently any kind of carve out for footprint size or total square footage size. So we do have that in place, a 50,000 square foot limitation in this area. It is within the central business overlay district.
Okay, and then Kyle,
So I guess it could be 5 stories,
Yeah.
10,000 square feet each.
how tall is the Moorhead Hospital, just out of curiosity?
I'd be all wet if I told you, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, because that's that's another comment the Megan's Bay had. I mean, they're homing it at a 40-foot, but now there's like, we see this little carve out there. So 3-story, 4-story, I mean, that's just an anomaly. I just highlight for the board and stuff. Okay.
Well, one thing I would point out with a concern about height is this is a 2-story building as opposed to what would have been 3-story condos
Right.
located a lot closer.
No, I'm homing in on the hypothetical on the 5 acre, just offering it up for just awareness to the group, not focused on this building right here.
There were at least 3 more sets of condos planned in there.
But again, Megan's Bay residents had concerns about the height. They had concerns with the fence, the lighting, as Mr. Morello mentioned. So that's all.
Okay. That's nice, although I can walk into there from Bridgeview and just walk right in either side of the security gate. I can walk in from grocery stores. I can walk in from 32 North. I can walk in a lot of places. The question I'm asking is, this is a 24-hour operation, right?
The ED, just the ED.
So it's 24 hours though. The emergency room, so there's 24.
24.
So there is a 24-hour section in there.
Yes,
Right. So, and this is the emergency room stuff.
yes.
Do you have any security requirements with that?
You have to have security on staff, yes.
So there's security on staff. Okay, so if there's security on staff and we have a 30-foot buffer and you gotta walk about 200 feet to get to Megan's Bay for some reason, what good's a fence gonna do? I'm not saying you don't need one. I would like to see, if not a fence, maybe some more trees put in there, but that 30-foot is pretty slim because it's been cleared out by people, I guess, over the years.
Because you're right. I mean, the residents were concerned about the security aspect. That's one of the reasons why they mentioned the fence on the backside, and I think they were mentioning along the entrance to Megan's Bay.
Then again, I don't know what to me, I can climb it. If I want to go there, I can get over it.
You
That's
can't
fine.
require something off-site just because it's owned by the same company.
So that's my thing. I just want to see if there's security that might solve or help. I don't know. I'm just not a big fence guy because how do you put it up there? You know, if you can do trees and stuff, it looks better. Get the lighting. Got the 30-foot wall, security issues. Get the fire department. What do you see as the average delivery per day? I realize.
For the emergency department? For the emergency department?
Yeah.
So right now, based off our study, we estimate after the 3rd year being open, seeing about 10,000 visits a year.
And how much of that would be ambulance deliveries? Do you think average? Okay.
It depends on the day, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just wonder, I mean, because you know,
The day and season.
people were concerned about this noise and stuff, and I realized they turn their, once they make the turn into Currituck.
Yeah.
Thing going, and of course, I can hear the fire department whenever it's going somewhere out there, and I'm on the end of Cedar Point, where the hell is Crystal Shores?
Make a lot of noise.
So we can hear, so I know there's the concern there, especially if they're coming in the back of that building with a siren. So, but they don't do that.
The
The
ambulance,
ambulance turns the siren off before it slips into the,
Yeah,
typically even at the hospital, they turn them off as soon as they come
Okay.
in. As soon as you're off the main highway.
we have a phone,
Yeah.
that we kind of go quiet.
once you get used to it, you go, hey, at this point, we just cut it.
In almost every hospital, we do that.
Okay.
I can only speak for our department.
Okay.
I mean, occasionally somebody messes up.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had some figures on, all right, so you're seeing 10,000, potentially 10,000,
That's what we have to make based off.
which could be a kid that broke a leg coming in.
Yeah,
or
sunburn,
cut a
it could be
hand
anything.
With a chainsaw, I cut my finger off.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I got. Anybody else have any questions?
One thing I do want to point out, because I know we had the discussion about the fence. That is something that is not a requirement of our ordinances as far as. The planning board can't require that, and the board of commissioners cannot require that as part of a commercial site plan process. If that were to be required by the town, it would have to be through a special use permit. Decision, not through the commercial site plan. So just want to make sure that's clear. We can certainly recommend it, or you can certainly recommend it, but
So I mean, yes, I recommend it because just as part of the community outreach with the residents in Megan's Bay, it'll go a long way.
I'm just saying that in case anyone watches the video later and say, why didn't the planning board require that? You can't require that.
Okay. So, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the commercial site plan with a recommendation as part of community outreach or fence for Megan's Bay residents on the backside and side. A good faith, not a requirement.
Oh, when you say the backside and side.
Yeah, I would say you probably need to separate those.
think you need to separate.
All right, well, all right, so I'll separate it. You want to give it a stab, Joe, since you live there?
Wait, is there a consistency statement? Then I move that the board approve. Recommend approval of. Site plan, is there a number to this?
There's no number.
Commercial site plan, for the. Metaplex, I have it right,
Health blood.
Healthplex, yeah. I make that motion.
I second it.
Contingent on updating the landscaping plan
Contingent upon updating the landscape plan.
to comply with the street art.
thing.
And I'll second it.
All in favor? You got that, James?
Yep.
And then I'll make a motion that. It's not a requirement, we can't mandate it. A request, as a community outreach, good faith for your neighbors at Megan's Bay. To put a fence on the backside. As a barrier between your property and their property, is my motion,
Along the south side of that property.
Outside.
yes.
I second it.
All in favor? Very good, passes.
You didn't specify the kind of fence.
Well, I don't know that we can. I know.
That's the.
Was the vote unanimous? Like,
No.
So,
who voted nay? You did nay.
Okay, so. What, I mean,
I've been in that battle over at the church before.
Doesn't have to look at, yeah, fence. I mean, maybe they'll say, hey, we don't want a chain link fence. So,
They're gonna want a solid fence.
how do you do a solid fence? You gotta think of solid fence, hurricanes,
They're probably gonna wanna combine
is shrubbery better?
the barrier with the light discipline.
Yeah,
issue.
shrubbery, is it shrubbery?
It's a sound barrier, but
Yes.
this has come up every time there's been a site proposal at joining Megan's Bay.
And we're making a recommendation.
That's all, recommendation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anything else? Comments on the board? Anybody in the public out there?
We're happy to see the building. Sure.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We're adjourned.
All right. That was a lot faster than I.
I don't want to.